As you may or may not recall from the last time we talked, I was looking for these spacers. Well, it turns out they didn't actually ship in the kit. But this whole front cage component here is based off of the Skull V2 from Flynoceros, and so I printed out their parts, and sure enough, they weren't anywhere near long enough. So I actually needed to add 3 millimeters to each side, and so I sliced it up in Prusa slicer, and basically what I did was I split this component in half, and then I split it in half again, the lower half, and what that left me with was like a 2.5 inch or 2.5 millimeter a part, which I exported as an STL, and then a middle section, which I expanded to 3 millimeters long, and then a top section. And I exported all three as separate STL files. Then, when I brought them back into Prusa Slicer, I brought in the bottom part first, and then I brought in the middle part, which had now been expanded to I think it was something like 5 millimeters, 5.5 millimeters, and then I brought in the top half on top of that, and I was able to stack them vertically. And when I did, and I sliced it for G-code, it came out perfect. So now you can kind of see, looking down on these, you can see that I've added about 3 millimeters, which was just what I needed in order to fit this where did the camera go? This camera into this frame. So now we've got this guy, and he'll go over here, and hopefully all this shows up. And then this guy goes over here, and that should be right like so. Alright, and then the camera will go right in there, and I really couldn't have cut it much closer, to be honest. It's in there pretty good. Let's see, yeah, hopefully that's somewhat in focus. It's hard to tell on this little viewfinder. But now I need to put the screws in and lock it into place as best I can. I actually don't know how these are typically held in place, if at all, or if they just float there. And yeah, I really don't know. So if I hope I do it right the first time, because I don't want to do it again. Alright, so let's get out our screws. These are the screws that came with it, and I'm just going to make sure that these actually thread into the hole here. Nope, they're too small. And then these guys here should thread in. Yep, these are the... Oh wow, they go in quite a ways. Okay, good. A lot of these cameras bottom out real fast. I don't know why that is, but they just do. Like, you'll get 3 threads in and it'll be done. Alright. Good. Okay. So we'll get this guy in. And before we do anything else, let's grab the camera cable. I'm going to reach in and grab this cable and pull it through like so. Oh, come on. Oh, why is this fighting me? It's just a cable. Okay. Yeah. There. Oh, is that so hard? Alright. And we will attach one side of this guy first, just to make sure that everything works according to our plans. One of these is the right one. I swear they should just make them all different colors, that way I'd know. Oh, this one is the blue one. I know the blue one. Actually, years ago I had a pair of OFNAs. I think it was OFNAs. Is it OFNA? OFNA? Anyway, one of those brands from years ago before they all got bought out. And I really liked it. It was like gold and silver and anodized aluminum, and I used it for many years, and then I broke the tip off of one and could never get a replacement tip. Of course, lifetime warranty being what it is. It, needless to say, wasn't lifetime supported. It's not like Craftsman. They went out of business too, didn't they? Or at least got sold off to someone. Yeah, consumer grade, lifetime warranties aren't what they used to be. I have some Snap-on tools, but it's such a pain to find a truck. I used to like Craftsman. I've even replaced a tape measure from them because the end broke off, my tape measure. I was like, oh, it's a good thing I bought Craftsman. And a ratchet too. Nice little ratchet I had for many years, and then one day I went to go use it, and sure enough, if I hadn't popped the mechanism inside, it's not very robust. It's just a little, well, it's a ratchet. Literally a ratcheting mechanism inside. This is inconvenient. Okay. Trying to do this on camera is harder than it looks. Okay, let's squeeze you in here. And then let's squeeze Yay for TPU, he says confidently. Alright, good. You know what? This isn't working. Not gonna work. Not like that, anyway. Put this guy in first. Yep. Like so. And then let's see if I can line up. Okay, well, that's good. Why isn't that setting in there right? Oh. I'm like, why isn't that in there right? And if you can look down in there, you can see pretty clearly why it's not in there right, because that screw missed the mark. Let's hope I didn't damage the board, huh? Yeah. That'd be no bueno. Okay. There it is. Camera's in. That was way too much work. You know, I said, oh yeah, this will only take a couple minutes. I'll film it. Never goes that way. We are just going to do a Joshua Bardwell check on this guy. Hello. What are you doing? All right. Good. These two sound. Well, that's good news. Double check a couple of key components here. Make sure I'm not crazy. Yeah, I should have done this before I buttoned up the top, but you know what? Let's live dangerously. I am pretty confident in my ability on these 30 by 30 boards, but we'll see. We'll see just how confident I really am. And we need this smoke stopper. So, when in doubt, run 2 smoke stoppers. What could go wrong? Ready? Boop. Alright, I got a green light briefly. That's good. Always good when you get the sounds you expect to get. Let's get an Immortal L-ish thing going real quick. Let's do one of these, and oh God, I gotta get some more small of these guys. We're gonna run. So I have these upright standoffs here, and what I was thinking was I'd run a wire out the back for the ground plane and a wire out the front for the main antenna, because I've got these guys just sitting here, and I thought it'd make a good antenna. And if I'm wrong, we'll find out together. Come on. There's that guy. And of course, I would have it flipped over backwards, because that's just what they would be expecting. Yeah. Stick that down there. What we'll do is we'll take and hold this in place, and then with a little piece of servo tape, and then we'll run this ground plane along here, and then this guy we'll do on the front side at the top of these guys. Let's see here. Let's make sure I got it right. Okay. And tighten this guy up. And this is a little bit like a T, but not quite. And I didn't have an Immortal T to do, and the positioning is kind of wrong for an Immortal L, so you know what, we'll just flub it. Alright, and this guy can come back this way, come out on top, or no, let's run it along the bottom. That'd be the smarter thing to do, wouldn't it? Get it away from the props a little bit. Alright, so that guy's out like that, and we'll grab a quick thing of heat shrink from the bag. Let's see, what do we got? Is that enough? Feels like wow. Running low on heat shrink here. I thought I'd say that. Alright. Get our lighter out. One, two, three, four. We'll just run like that. Hopefully everyone can see what's going on. So we're going to do it like that, and then we're just going to run that ground plane right along like so. And do one of those and one of these. Alright, make sure the ground plane's far enough into it. Come on, quit touching it. Okay. I wonder if that that clear stuff's just a bit too big around. Because this slid right off. Yeah. We'll run 2 of these guys instead. That clear stuff's just not cutting it. It's a little bit too big. Alright. Slide this on. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Look it into shot. Alright. I am hoping that I can get this loaded with Betaflight 4.1 in record time and fly it today. But we'll see. 24 minutes in. Alright. Good. Okay. Let's get this VTX connected up. What we're going to do with this VTX is wrap it in Kapton tape. Which I have here. This stuff is really nice. It's non-electrically conductive, so and it's useful for 3D printing. So if you ever get into 3D printing, which I strongly recommend, it's a lot of fun. And we're going to stick this guy on there because we're not expecting this to be like the greatest performing quad in the world. So. Alright. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Stick. There we go. Alright, so we got a couple layers of Kapton tape on that. And then we want to hold it down with a little bit of servo tape, which we have right here, and what we'll do is we'll do something like this, or we'll run it. Since we're running 3-inch blades back here, we don't need a ton of room, but I still don't want them to get into this guy, so I'm just going to run it kind of like this. I'm just going to stick it up under this wire a little bit as best I can and have it come out the frame just like that. That ought to be fine. Yep. So, a little bit of sticky servo tape here. we'll stick that to the bottom of our Unify and stick that right on the frame, and that should hold it in place for a test flight anyway. We've got our basically our Immortal L worked out that way anyway, and we're going to stick this guy over here in the exact same way. Actually, before we do that, let's get us bound. We have our thing on, we have our antenna on, we have this guy powering on, and what we're just going to do is go and exit, and here we want create model. This will be the multi-rotor, and we'll just do page, so it's throttle, whatever, it doesn't matter. Come on, and we want to page, we want model name, we want the Y, not K, N, O, my camera just died again. What a piece of shit. Alright, and continuing on, we're going to exit and come down to the internal, we want off. So internal RF, we want that set to off, and we want external set to crossfire. And then we want to exit and page, we want 5. We want to call this one A for arm, and exit, come on down, and we'll set that to this switch right here, and then exit again, and exit, and then we'll come down here and do B for buzz, and exit, come on down, and we'll set this one to the buzzer. And those are the only two modes I'm planning on setting here. We could set up a this switch to be like our mode switch, and with as weird as this thing is, maybe that's a good idea. You know what? To hell with it. Let's do it. Let's do a mode switch. We'll just call it M for mode. Come on down here, and we'll do that. And exit. Exit again, and move over to our exit from there. And we want page. I'm going to go to the mixer, and we'll do 5. And this will be A1 for auxiliary 1, and it's already set to switch A, and we'll call this one A2 for auxiliary 2, and then for our mode switch we will do A three for aux 3, and that's done. So our controller is now set up. Let's exit out of this and come back to we have a crossfire in here. We are going to plug in the battery real quick, and just because I'm a nervous Nelly, I'm going to use this guy once more, because you know, a smoke stopper, it's hard to go wrong. And then hold in this guy do page to Crossfire. Hopefully you can see this. I'm doing Crossfire, crossfire.lua, hold long press to execute. We see that. We go into binding, and we can see update, enter. Yeah, little flashing red light. Give it a second. Turned green, meaning that we have positive bind with this guy. Give it a second, it'll update the receiver. This is why I love Crossfire. It just works. You don't have to muck with it. You don't have to set up. You don't have to do F-port. You don't have to do... I'm binding from my radio to my quad, and I'm updating it. Like every device you own with a smartphone, why you would ever build anything any other way, I will never understand. Alright, let's finish cleaning it up a little bit, and then we will get ready and call it here. And RX is loading. I'm guessing that says don't reboot. Boom. Done. Now our light is solid green, as you can clearly see, and we will call that exit. And if you want, you can go into the nano that's here, and it takes a second, but you can change your mode, your telemetry, anything you want. So output 1, that's channel 1, that's the TX, and output 2 is the RX. That means the TX goes to your RX pad on our flight controller, and if we had mucked it up and screwed up, or if it was mislabeled or something else, but I'm pretty sure we got it all right. If we'd done anything differently or wanted to change this, we could, and we'd be good to go. You can actually change all of these values. All the outputs can be remapped in this through this guy, but we don't need to do any of that because it's Crossfire and it just works. Yeah, it just works. Done. And we are done here. I'm going to power this guy off and enter. Yes. And we are unplugging our quad. Good. Now, Betaflight. Last time I tried this, I didn't get it right with regard to recording. So, I don't think I'm going to even try now. I'm not doing anything Joshua Bardwell hasn't done. So, I plug it in, I configure it, and I call it done, and then I go fly it. So this is the end for that, and then I'll be back, talk about the flight. Hopefully it goes well, and we'll see what happens. Alright, thank you. As with everything that I've done on this build, I've managed to wire both the VTX and the Crossfire to the same port. Yeah, TX3, I'm sure you guys probably saw in my previous video that I wired it up wrong, and now I'm paying for that. And of course, you have to disassemble the airframe pretty much completely in order to get it back together, or get it to so that you can fix it. So that's what I'm doing right here. Looks like I'm about to run out of storage on my overhead cam, so hopefully I can do this quickly. And what we're going to do real fast is move our Crossfire from TX3 over to TX6, which are these pads right here. So we've got ground, 5 volt, RX, or TX and RX in that order. So I will begin the process of getting that unsoldered, and we'll run out of storage here on I got 2 minutes left of recording time. Yeah, it never fails. You always goof something up, you know. But that's alright. That's why I like doing this, actually. It gives me time to reflect on how I could do it better on the next one. Okay. A little bit here. Okay, we're gonna do ground, and then we're gonna do the 5-volt. And then we'll do the yellow wire, which is the actually no, we're going to do, we want the RX to come off the TX, so we're going to do the white wire next. Can he finish this before he runs out of storage? 50 seconds left on my camera. Come on. There it is. I'm gonna call it here. Here I am doing a quick hover test of the Why-Not frame. We're just going to make sure that it gets up off the ground and that it hovers okay. And everything seems to be working fine. It's a little twitchy. All right, now we're going to go ahead and fly it. So we're going to send it on down the driveway and turn it around and bring it back. So taking it on down, and when I get down here to the end, it kind of twitches a bit as you turn it around, that's for sure. And then bringing it on back, and now I'm going to show you the onboard real quick. So first flight was successful, and here's the onboard. So get it up in the air. It takes a little bit to lift it. It's a little more than, I want to say it's right around 50% throttle, which is a little higher than I'm used to. But now I bring it right on back, and you can see those bobbles. It's definitely twitchy all over the place. That's it for the Why-Not build. I've had a lot of fun playing around with this, and hopefully you've enjoyed watching all the parts. Sorry it went on for what seemed like forever, but this frame was a little bit more complicated than I expected at first, and there were a couple more problems than I really expected to have, but overall I think it turned out well. I accomplished all my goals anyway. So, and I think that's it. That concludes the Why-Not build, and stay tuned for some micros. So I got some micros coming up. The Ripsqueak from BQE. I've got something from Spintech. So we've got a couple things in the pipe.
Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great afternoon.